Hey, Mickey, are you there? Mickey, if you just want to leave it with the Zoom link because that's what's on the public agenda, as long as it's recording to a device there that we can then upload to our YouTube channel, that would be fine. Currently, we are not able to hear you. I can hear you now. Mickey or Jose, if you're able to hide the participants or force it so that nobody can unmute themselves during the Zoom call, that would be excellent.
Chase gonna come out.
Annie Bonderson, please mute yourself.
No.
They always go back.
So this one is for Bill Savage, and this is for continuations of bond value. And then the contract for F3 came in today, and it was sent across and put online, but I don't know if you have it. Yeah, you do. Right here.
You know what? I don't think I put my name on that.
You got it. Yeah.
Organizing a meeting for you.
Yeah, this is people.
My dad.
I'll give it a minute or two more, and we'll
This is
keep
my
going.
Okay.
Well, you don't look like you had COVID.
County code. Actually,
Oh, my dad. Yeah.
Oh, I'll give it to her.
Finally back to.
Do you want to get some tea or tea?
They're, self-contained, bread, microwave, all this stuff.
I saw your picture.
Because as soon as it was gone, it's like, as soon as it was gone today.
If you need anything.
Well, you all, you both were very kind today. I really appreciate it.
Stick in any of them.
Right.
No, you want to, you actually have to send a card with the
Like
number.
form two.
No, he didn't do them individually. There's no public comment, so there's no,
No.
we can do that. You just tell me. Okay, we're calling this to order. It's 5:32 roughly, 5:33, 5:32. Okay, so I'm calling the meeting to order. Just an announcement in connection with that. The governing board encourages public discussion of all items on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the board may submit a comment from form prior to start of the agenda item discussion. Comment forms will not be accepted for any items once the item has been announced. A person wishing to address the board shall first be recognized by the president and shall then proceed to comment as briefly as the subject permits. There is a 3-minute maximum speaking time per person on a single agenda item. The limit on discussing each item is 20 minutes unless extended by the board. Board bylaw 9323 states the board, we can skip that part. Lastly, please be advised that the board meeting is being recorded, so you are all on camera and your voices are as well. And lastly, I encourage everyone to be respectful of each other, as we know that has been an issue. Hopefully, it will not be going forward. So on that is the call to order. I'd like to now go to agenda item 1B, which is the welcome. I want to welcome Alameda County Board of Education President Cheryl Cook-Callio and County Board Member Aisha Knowles to the Sunol Glen USD Board of Trustees. As we all know, the special recall election of July 2nd resulted in the removal of 2 of the 3 members of the Sunol Glen Board of Trustees. Accordingly, this in turn triggered California Education Code Section 5094, which provides, quote, if for any reason vacancies should occur in a majority of the offices on any school district or community college district governing board, the president of the county board of education having jurisdiction may appoint members of the county board of education to the district governing board until new members of the governing board are elected or appointed, close quote. So Cheryl, as the president of the Board of Education, made the appointments to the Sunol Glen Governing Board. Both Cheryl and Aisha have been sworn in. So at this point, Cheryl, do you want to say a few words?
Thank you. You know, I'm honored to be working with Superintendent Galetti and Trustee Romo to better serve the students of Sunol. I am joined by Trustee Aisha Knowles. My ties to Sunol go very deep. My children, my older children went here through K-12, and I know that it is a very special place. They've got a superior education here, and it is one of their fondest memories that they spent time here in Sunol. So when I come onto this campus, I walk by that I guess, door, you know, for the cafeteria. And I think of the times that we sat here and shared, you know, cake and cookies and listened to them play and all the wonderful things they did when they were here. You know, in my capacity of the Alameda County Board, I'm empowered to see 2, and I did so very carefully. And I chose Aisha Knowles because she is the trustee for the unincorporated areas of Alameda County, most of them, not this one because I am. But she also knows Sunol Glen because she's the PIO. She was the PIO for Alco Fire and also currently for Fremont Fire. So she has been in this community, understands the community and what they need. I did appoint myself, not lightly, because I was elected by the same constituency that you elect your school board. I am your trustee in Area 7, and so you are my people also. You are the people I take care of as part of my responsibilities on the County Board of Ed. I think that it's really important to know that we have done a lot of research to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we're following California Ed Code exactly in order to better serve the students of Sunol and the greater Sunol community that's attached to the school. It is our job to provide stability so that you can start school, you can do the things that you need to do to make sure that your school is operating. But I think I speak for both of us and maybe all of us when I say that what we want is what's best for the students. And we will turn this back over to Sunol community as quickly as we possibly can. The timeline is a little different than I think some people expected it to be, but I sought legal counsel as president of the board of Alameda County Office of Ed, and then we checked to make sure that everybody was on the right page. And so we're following that timeline exactly, and the decisions that I think we're making is to provide the stability necessary for you to get back to the business of making sure that your kids are well educated. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm honored to be here. I'm humbled to be here, and looking forward to doing what I need to do to make it seamless, but also to make sure that somebody else is sitting in this seat as soon as possible. Not because I don't like you. So thank you.
Aisha, do you want to?
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say that I am thankful for the opportunity to serve in this role in this period of time. It's nice to be back in the Sunol community, and I look forward to doing whatever is necessary in support of students here, so they can begin the new school year in a positive manner. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
So it looks like we have one, just I want to make sure this, Gwen, did you want to comment on 2B or did you want to comment on at the welcome?
At the welcome.
Okay, that's this one right now. So this is 1B. So if you,
Oh, sorry.
that's all right. Yeah.
I just wanted to thank everyone first. Thank you, Ted, for weathering out the storm, being here. We really appreciate you. Thank you, Mickey, for writing it out with all of us. We appreciate you. And welcome, Mrs. Coletti. We're really happy to have you, and we have a fresh new start. And I have to say, I am so excited looking at the new letterhead and all of your names up at the top. I am excited. This is a new start, a new fresh start. So I'm excited. I wanted to say welcome to Cheryl. I watched your history through Sunol and Pleasanton and now the county. I'm excited to have you here. I know that Sunol has a great place in your heart. And Aisha, love speaking with you too. And I know you've got a history in Sunol, so welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. Thanks for helping us out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick little quote that actually came across my Facebook last night. Peace is not when everyone agrees. It is when we can respect our disagreements and still play in the sandbox together.
Great, thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the Pledge of Allegiance and then take it from there. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so next is item 1D, approval of the agenda. Is there any desire to discuss the agenda item or any items thereon before approving the agenda for this special board meeting? No? Okay. I motion to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's that. All right. Moving on to item 2A. Do we have any comments? No?
Oh, no, because that's election of officers.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know the others are not. So we can just do it.
Okay. So on this one, it looks like Becky Rad, one time, 3 minutes.
Good evening and welcome, Aisha Knowles, Cheryl Cacalio, Ted Romo, and Shay Galetti. This is exciting. I didn't know exactly where to note speaking. However, what I have to say is kind of in response to something I read on Facebook and adding on to Cheryl's intro. And some of the community members were a little concerned that people from the county were going to be serving on the board. And I know, Aisha, you're here for a very short while, but according to the memo that was put out that Andrew shared, Cheryl Cacalio is here until the election. And so I just want to reiterate that Cheryl's no stranger. She lived in Sunol. Her twin daughters came to Sunol Glen K through 8. I was fortunate to teach these two brilliant girls, 4th, my first year here, 7th and 8th. Cheryl is also the impetus for the Washington, D.C. trip. That's where I learned about it, and I decided, well, if you can do it, I want it for Sunol Glen too. Also the intramural sports that we did at Hopkins. Cheryl brought a lot to Sunol as a new 7th, 8th grade teacher, opened my eyes to something other than Sunol, like history and civics every day rather than the AB schedule that was here when I first was hired. And so Cheryl helped along with another few teachers in Pleasanton to get our board to go ahead and change the schedule so that we had history and civics every day so that our kids went to Foothill and Amador very well prepared, because I don't know if you know, but Cheryl does We the People and has garnered first place many a year. Foothill and Amador always go hand in hand. So she's really no stranger. Plus she knows the ed code inside and out, SELPA, whatever comes up in the next few months, you've got an expert here. And so I just want everyone in the community to feel at ease that the school is in really good hands. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, moving on then to item 2A with respect to the election of the president of the board. You want to take it up?
I'd like to nominate Ted Romo as president of the board.
Procedurally, are you calling for it 3 times? I'm ready. I will second the motion for you to be president of the board.
So then I think we go to all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passes. So that's
Easy.
2A. Moving on to 2B, election of clerk. Do you want to do this one? Okay.
You all need more than one microphone.
They're expensive.
Thank you, President Romo. I would like to nominate Trustee Cheryl Cook-Callio as the clerk of the board.
I would like to second the motion and give it to you. Oh, I can do it this. I can do it. That's right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Get to sit in the middle and pass the mic.
That's the job. That's the whole role. All right. All right. Okay. Thank you. Moving on to item 3A. This is a procedural item. No, this is, 3A. Okay. So I guess we'll take a comment here. This is from Tom Knudsen. You want to comment on this one?
Yes. Thank you, Tom Knudsen. I'm a resident here in Sunol. This appointment process that seems to be in place, I think, should be slowed down a little bit. It would be naive to think that this town is not still divided. And if there's going to be any effort to heal whatever wounds may exist, it's not going to come from the outside. And I don't mean any disrespect for you two ladies who are sitting here, but you really don't have any skin in the game. So I would propose that the board look into something that would allow either a committee of citizens to make that selection within a relatively short period of time, or put both seats on the November ballot so that they could be filled with a full and fair election. I'm not sure the legal pitfalls or what needs to be required, but I think involving the citizens in this selection process is the manner in which it should be accomplished. And you can certainly recognize that people, and again, no disrespect intended, coming from the outside and telling a community how you're going to run its show is going to be resisted. So I would urge you to reconsider this appointment process.
Thank you. So the procedural item was with respect to a resolution for the signatures for the members of the board. The discussion point, though, veered off of that to an item that we'll be discussing later on. So we'll defer reference and comment on that.
I put the wrong letter on?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
So
Ditto.
moving on to the actual procedural item, this is a resolution to effectively for each of the board members to sign with, and basically it's a verification of the signature. And I would move to approve it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it passes. So we will sign that in due course and go from there. Okay. Moving on to item 3B. This is the action to approve, action and approval to solicit application to fill the one board trustee office whose regular term is scheduled to end in fall of 2026. No comments. Okay. Okay. And Tom, to some degree, this goes to your comment, but so I will take this up first by making the following statement. The special recall election of July 2nd is now behind us. The Sunol community has voted and the 2 prior members of its Board of Trustees were recalled, and the president of the Alameda County Board of Education has appointed individuals to fill the 2 vacancies. Given the timing of the recall and its final certification by the Alameda County Registrar of Voters, the Board of Trustees does have an opportunity in the case of the one trustee office whose regular term is scheduled to end in the fall of 2026 to solicit applications from individuals resident in the district and to appoint one such individual to this office to serve out the remaining term through December 2026. In furtherance of this, the board is asked here to approve moving forward with the solicitation of applications in accordance with the terms of Board Bylaw 9223, filling vacancies, with the goal of considering potential candidates at the next regular board meeting to be held in August. The goal would be, if the board determines to select any one of the applicants to fill the remaining term of office for the board trustee, such individual would replace Aisha, who has been appointed by the president of the Alameda County Board of Education. For purposes of meeting the requirements of Board Bylaw 9223, a committee of the board is to be constituted to, quote, ensure that applicants are eligible for board membership, close quote. Such committee can be any one of the trustees of the board. I'm happy for any of the members on the board to take up this role. It can be any one of us, and I think that's something that we should discuss. With that in mind, is there any discussion with respect to the process or with respect to who the individual should be?
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, one thing that we need to do is to appoint one member of the board as a subcommittee to look at the applications. The second thing is the process by which we're accepting applications. Okay, so do you have a preference of what we want to do first?
Why don't we talk process first?
Okay, so I have a couple of suggestions. I know that as part of the, I don't have to hold on to this, right? I know that as part of the agenda, there was an application that was put on the website. I would ask that perhaps we add one other question to that. That is, who makes up the school community? According, like in your opinion, who makes up the school community? I'd like to see that added to the application. And then the other thing that I thought, in terms of just making it as fair as possible, and I looked up what California School Board Association said were the role of the school board. And then I did discuss this with Superintendent Galletti, and then create some kind of rubric where you would use what California School Board Association says is the role of a school board trustee, and that the applications would be we would use a rubric of some sort, and I have a copy of one here, to kind of rank the applications so that it's not done, sitting here, that we have some kind of way of looking at them in some order based on what best practices is for school board trustees.
Okay.
So. So those are two things. Do we need to vote on that, or?
Well, I would just comment. Well, you're right. We need more of these. To me, that sounds completely reasonable and appropriate. We can add that and add this as a construct for that part of it. So I think that is sort of I think we can, unless you disagree, I think we would just accept that as part of the process, which we can then have added to the form before the form is made available to the public for purposes of submitting applications. And the rubric we would use. And then to the second part, which is to the committee of one, is there a preference of anybody who wants to be on it? To be it, just say not even on it.
I have a preference.
Okay.
I think that as much as I resist the idea that we're outsiders. We also perform an oversight function for Sunol Glen, that we, approve your budget and a number of other things, and including providing services. I think that the micro detail that is needed in terms to vet these applications should be somebody who actually lives in the community. So I would nominate you as the subcommittee of one to work with the superintendent on the applications.
Okay. Keisha, do you have a view on this?
As my parting gift, I'm going to bring a new mic stand for you. I'm going to decorate it a little, make it. Anyhow, back to your question. Two things. I agree that it should be you, President Romo, to participate in the discussion around the candidate who is appointed. And then secondly, I support the question to be added to the application process. So uniquely, I applied to be, so I went through an appointment process on the County Board of Education when the trustee for Area 4 was Felix Elizalde, and he passed away in 2010. There was no, well, there was not a rubric that it was identified and shared with the public. So it's hard to not call you President Cocalio.
Regular old Cheryl.
Clerk Cocalio, thank you for looking this up from CSBA so that we have some framework to help guide the discussion. And I do, I acknowledge the time that we are in. And so I don't sit here, I don't take this role lightly. I have spent the last, over 3 years studying some of the history of the unincorporated area in Alameda County and the action of the Board of Supervisors exercising eminent domain in Russell City. And so I am very mindful that there has been pain in the Sunol community, and so I respect the voices in the room, those that are shared and shared in other environments that people have reached out to us directly to state. And so I think in order to move forward, I would support you participating in the committee and adding the questions so that, we can take one step at a time.
Just to add something, I see that on the rubric, there is a link to the CSBA guidelines, but they're very easily available online. And I would ask that these also be part of the packet so people can read them.
Okay, and before we take any more action or vote, I'd like to address Tom's question about putting both positions that are currently here up on the November election, at the November election. Under the code, as I understand it and have been told, the position, the trustee position that ends term in November of 2026, it wouldn't make the timing for being included. So it would not be available to be included in the November election, whether we wanted to or not. So that's inherently a timing problem that's structured because of the law. So just so you're aware. Okay. With that, I suggest that, or I should say, I move to approve the action of moving forward with soliciting applications, subject to the application being revised to reflect the additional question from Cheryl, and then the addition of adding for the applicants a copy of the rubric. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're good on that one. All right. And do you have the question, by the way? Did you? Oh, you do.
Did you want?
Yeah, I want the question.
I just,
So, okay.
I wrote it down as well.
Okay.
Are the I wrote it
Got
down.
it? All right.
Okay.
I was going to keep a packet for it. Okay, don't worry.
Yeah. I got all the notes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now, all right, moving on to item 3C. Discussion of possible action to approve resolution number 24-25-02 in the matter of the teachers and staff of Snow Glen. All right. Denise Kent Romo. Be mindful on her on 3 minutes.
Good evening. First, I just wanted to give a warm welcome to two very seasoned, knowledgeable board members, Aisha Knowles and Cheryl Cook-Callio, who are joining Ted Romo on the Sonoma Glen School Board in order to facilitate a smooth transition back to regular school business at Sonoma Glen. The school and community are so lucky to have you both. I am in support of this resolution of teachers and staff, and I believe it's a wonderful preface to the new school year. It acknowledges the challenges, chaos, and workplace toxicity that most teachers and staff faced over the last year. And it reinforces that this current board going forward recognizes and respects their professionalism, talent, and experience as valued members of the school community. This resolution reflects the desire that this board is committed to forging a collaborative and non-adversarial relationship with teachers, staff, and administration, which is a sign of a healthy and functioning school and school board. It is my request that the board unanimously approve this resolution of recognition and support of teachers and staff at the Sonoma Glen School Board, at the Sonoma Glen School.
Thank you. All right. So I will start off. As we all are aware, the past year has been a difficult one, filled with attacks on various individuals and general divisiveness at the board level and among the Sonoma community. Through it all, the teachers and staff of Sonoma Glen have stood strong and worked tirelessly and professionally to protect and advance the best interests of the students placed in their trust. And now is a time for the board, as presently reconstituted, to reaffirm its commitment to the Sonoma Glen teachers and staff. Let me read to you the relevant parts of the resolution. Whereas the governing board of the Sonoma Glen Unified School District recognizes that the governing board, the district, and the Sonoma community have been faced with division and animosity over the past year. And whereas following the conclusion of the recall of 2 members of the governing board, the present governing board desires to reaffirm and make clear its support for the teachers and staff of the district. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the governing board hereby declares and reaffirms its full and active support and respect for the teachers and staff of the district. Be it further resolved, the governing board recognizes, commends, and encourages the teachers and staff of the district, placing the interest and advancement of the students of Sonoma Glen first, and vigilantly protecting the students of the district from any future divisiveness, whether at the governing board level or from the outside community. Be it further resolved that the governing board is confident that it can, with the support of the Sonoma community, put the past months of continual divisiveness behind it and return to first principles to act in the best interests of every student in the district, alongside a firm commitment of support for parents, guardians, members of the Sonoma community, and teachers and staff of the district. As the resolution makes clear, the board, by adopting this resolution, reaffirms its support and backing of the teachers and staff and its return to first principles to act in the best interests of every student in the district, alongside a firm commitment of support for parents and guardians and members of the Sonoma community. I think the board should approve this resolution.
Is that a motion or do you need a motion?
I
moved.
You can do whatever you want.
I move to approve the resolution honoring the teachers and the students and the staff.
And I second the resolution number 24-2025. Sorry. -02.
All in favor?
Aye.
It passes. Okay. Moving on to item 3D. This is action and approval to engage F3 to provide legal services to the district. We have a comment here from Denise Kent Romo. Another 3 minutes. Hold it tight.
All right, so short one.
Okay.
And I left off before. I am speaking as myself, Denise Kent Romo, and former board member. For 3D, I am in support of this agenda item to bring back the legal services of F3 to the Snow Glen School. I worked with Attorney Joshua Stevens for a number of years when I served on the board, and I found his legal advice and recommendations to be indispensable. I believe Josh worked for the school for at least the past 10 years, maybe longer, and his institutional knowledge would be invaluable to both the new Superintendent Galletti and to any new board members as they navigate their way in their new roles and duties. I feel it was an enormous misstep to have released him and his firm from their contract with Snow Glen, and I'm requesting that the board approve rehiring F3 for the benefit of the school. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Matt Sylvester.
Hi, good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is Matt Sylvester, and I have a child that goes to the school, and I live in Sunol for about 10 years now. And just kind of wanted to echo what Denise was saying. I agree that if F3 will have us back, I think there's no reason not to try to reach out. Having someone with that sort of intimate knowledge of working with the district for 10 years is really helpful. So that you kind of the bang for your buck that they get with knowing us so well, I think is good. And I don't see really a good reason why they should have been released in the first place. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Aaron Choin.
Hello, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate, you guys coming out and being part of our board to help our community. My name's Erin Choin. I'm a resident here in Sunol. I'm also a parent of 3 students here at the school. I'm also in support of bringing back F3 as our legal counsel. They've served our district for many years, and they offer a lot of value in that continuity. So their guidance is needed right now as our district has gone through so many changes. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. And Tom Knudsen.
That's the right agenda item. Getting a lot of FaceTime. I don't know that I oppose, any law firm that goes by F3. But I hope that this board has fully vetted this legal firm. As I view it, the most important imperative challenge facing this board is the implementation of millions of dollars of bond funds. Now, I don't know what this outfit's experience is with respect to that, but I do know that the firm that is being replaced was one of the renowned firms in the state of California dealing with leasebacks, public contracts, and the like. And I think it should be imperative that this board assess that. Maybe you already have, I don't know. But that, as I view it, is a very imperative responsibility that these lawyers will have. A cursory review of their website does not suggest that it does, but that doesn't mean that's not true. But I would like this maybe agenda item passed so that you can report back, having discussed with whoever the principals are in this firm, and ensure the citizens of the community that this law firm is fully up to speed with respect to what is around the corner. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So the purposes of this agenda item is merely to authorize and cause the district to re-engage with the law firm of Fagan, Friedman, and Fullfrost, LLP, otherwise known as F3 or F3 Law. They were the district's counsel for over a decade until this past fall when the prior constituted board determined to change the course with respect to outside counsel for the district. The past 9 months have been a bit tumultuous as a result, at least with respect to outside legal counsel. The intention now is to authorize the re-engagement of the district, by the district, of F3 Law. As we all know, the district recently hired a new superintendent principal, Shay, and given the recent turmoil and changeover on the board, the district will likely be well served by outside counsel that has real institutional knowledge with the district. For this reason, it's proposed that the board approve the re-engagement of F3 Law. They've already indicated that they would be willing to take up representation of the district. They've provided, and it's been posted on the agenda website, to an engagement contract. And as everyone knows, their services to the district would be based on hourly rates that are in line with other law firms and only billed to the district based on work actually performed. Lastly, in response to Tom's questions, we're not firing anybody. We are simply rehiring or re-engaging or allowing for the engagement of F3. F3 provides knowledge and institutional history with this district that goes to largely to the educational aspects of the district and employment and so forth like that. With respect to construction law, there's nothing wrong with the district continuing to use the counsel that it is using for construction law matters as needed. And in terms of bond matters, there's nothing improper with using existing counsel for those matters to the extent that they have the experience. So I think that it covers off the concern that you have or that has been voiced, notwithstanding the fact that we are able to re-engage with a law firm that has a history with this district that I think is a good benefit, or sorry, is a benefit for Shay and for the rest of us on the board. So that's the logic for it. Any other comments, discussion?
So by that, the complaints for the last 12 months about having high legal fees, now justified to law firms?
So the way that law firm billing works is that you know how law firm billing works. So you bill by the hour. So if we engage with, for example, F3 or anybody else, it's just a function of who we give the work to, and it's billed at that for that. It's if you give it to any firm, it's going to cost X amount. It's just a matter of which firm you give the work to. So anyway, excuse me. Any discussion?
No.
Okay. So I motion to approve the re-engagement of F3.
I second.
I'm going to sit in the middle next time. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion passes. Okay, so no comments. Okay. The next one is action and approval of revised board bylaw 9324, minutes and recordings. This is item 3E. I want to do a call out to the Snolian for identifying the marked text as in the materials that you all have seen. With respect to the bylaw, there is text that is inconsistent with the subsequent language in the same bylaw. It appears that the marked text, which represents former language included in the bylaw, somehow was reinserted at some point and at the time of the board's prior approval of the most recent amendment to this bylaw, and the board failed to catch it. It's an inadvertent inclusion, and as a result, the action today is simply to remove the inconsistent language and clean up the bylaw. Is there any discussion?
I make a motion to approve.
Just want to keep you on your toes. I second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Motion passes. Okay, we're now to 3F, action and approval on revised board bylaw 9124 attorney. We have no comments on this one either. Okay, so long, as you know, it seems so long ago, but back on May 14th, the board discussed the marked changes in the drafts, which are available and you've seen. The history here is that pursuant to the board's prior discussion, the district's then superintendent principal and I had engaged with the district's legal counsel on the revisions to this bylaw. Through the course of this back and forth and taking into account some of the views held by the district's legal counsel, the bylaw was marked up to reflect what you have before you. The overall intention was and still is merely to address the issues previously identified with the draft prepared by the district's legal counsel as provided at the May 14th board meeting. As you see in the attached, the proposed revisions clarify when the district's legal counsel may withhold providing legal advice to the superintendent principal and or the board president, as well as cleanups and streamlines certain discussions in the bylaw. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. I assume that this is consistent with CSBA's recommendations?
No, it's not. It is a furtherance of it, if you will. It takes what was standard language, if you will, and then updated it after the CSBA council revised it further. And so it's a continuation of that discussion.
Thank you.
Aisha?
I was just going to ask a question about one of the words that I think is proviso. Is that supposed to be proviso?
Proviso.
What is that? What does that mean?
Proviso is a provision or an exception. Before.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't supposed to be provision.
No.
Okay.
So I will motion to approve.
Yes. You want a second, or you want me to make the motion? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's passed. Okay. Okay, tonight's favorite action and approval of repeal of resolution 23-2024-08, quote, in the matter of display of district flags and daily performance of patriotic exercises, close quote, and approval of resolution 2025-03 regarding Sunol Glen flagpole policy. There's a number of comments here. We'll take them in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So the first one is from Peggy Carpenter.
Thank you for listening to me tonight. And I want to say thank you to Trustee Cook-Callio and Trustee Knowles. And I called you by your last name because I want to be respectful of it. And Superintendent Galletti as well. Welcome again. It's just a wonderful evening for me and many of the people in this room, and hopefully most people in the room. I want to thank many of the Sunolians that aren't here, those who live here, and those who chose this as their home school. Many of those people would have signed our petition, but weren't able to because they didn't live as a resident in the community, but they care deeply about the school. I've lived here for almost 43 years, and I have 3 children who went through these schools, and I was a school board trustee as well as a teacher for 10 years in this school district. It's just really important that people understand that democracy is not something that's easy. It's messy. People disagree, and sometimes they disagree vehemently, and sometimes shout at each other. That's not the way to do it, but people do it. But one of the things that's nice about democracy is that ultimately, even though people disagree, we get to use our votes, and they're counted. And we get to use our free speech, and it matters. And recall is part of the California Constitution that allows us to run around with petitions all over the 84 square miles of Sunol district and get people to sign. And eventually they voted. And even though it disappoints many people, it is also now official. And I said some of these things, so I went out of my level here. Anyway, as far as my comment has to do with 3G, and that's revisiting the flag resolution that was passed. That resolution that was passed was unnecessary, hurtful to many, and it was so embarrassing to many of us in this community to have this be the only district in Alameda County that passed a new resolution that didn't need to be passed. Anyway, we can right this wrong tonight with your votes. Does that mean I'm done? Okay. Anyway, one last thing where I had, thank you to the Sunol Glen community for making tonight possible. Margaret Mead said years ago, a small group of committed people can make things change. The only thing that helps change. Anyway, thank you. And I'm sorry I took a couple more seconds.
No worries. 3G, Denise Kent.
Should have grabbed some of Denise's.
Good evening again, Denise Kent Romo speaking as a former board member. I am in support of this resolution to repeal the current overreaching total flag ban resolution in order to replace it with a more moderate and reasonable resolution. We are not the same as the Boston case. We are not a public square. We are a public school. As suggested in this resolution, I believe that restricting the flagpole to only flying the U.S. and California flag is a sufficient compromise and what the town seems to want. Having the pride flag fly on the fence is a wonderful arrangement, as it is even in more view and approachable for students and families. What concerns me most in this entire matter, outside the obvious attempt to ban the pride flag anywhere on campus, and the seemingly conscious avoidance of the facts in California Education Code by two members of the school board, is that the majority of the Sunol School Board at the time, not including Ted Romo, ignored the hateful acts of ripping down the flag and the vandalization of the all-gender bathroom. There was no statement of support for the marginalized students. Nothing. I found that both horrifying and heartbreaking and unacceptable. Not to mention, it is not in accordance with the legal ed code expectation that schools demonstrate support for our LGBTQ+ students. I would like to see this resolution approved so that teachers will not have to have anxiety wondering if they will be caught using unauthorized teaching materials. Teachers and staff will not have to have their First Amendment rights challenged. And because championing our marginalized LGBTQ+ students is just the right thing to do. And I am requesting that the board approve the repeal of the draconian all flag ban and replace it with a modified, moderate version. Thank you.
Thank you. Becky Redd?
I'm back. I'm not going to repeat anything that Denise Kent-Romo just said because I share all of those, having been a teacher here for many years. When I started, as you well know, Cheryl Callio, every single student lived in Sunol. We had the Killcare bus run. We had the country run that included the ranches and the watershed. Every single student lived in Sunol, and their families lived in Sunol. Had the vote been taken at that time, it would have been, who knows? However, that's not the case anymore. There's only 20% of the students attending Sunol who live in Sunol. The majority, 80%, come from all over to come to this absolutely wonderful school. Had they been given a vote, you would have seen it would have been a landslide because this is a new world and people are different and we accept people for their differences. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color, what religion, whether they're gay, straight. I mean, this is a beautiful world, and we look at the people inside from the heart. Sunol has always been an accepting school, always. When I taught 8th grade, we had one student that was expelled from Pleasanton. The principal came to me, Bob Wakeling. He'd say, he was expelled. Will you accept this student? I said, oh, it's not my decision. I put it to the class. I said, what do you think? Go home, discuss it with your parents. Not one kid said no. Not one. And we took this child. Many years later, I heard somebody yelling at me at club sport, Mrs. Rath. And it was this drop dead, gorgeous young man who picked me up and twirled me around and said, thank you for saving my life. That's Sunol. That is Sunol. And so get rid of this draconian resolution and let's go for the more moderate, which gives both, I think we discussed this and both sides agreed. Let's keep it off of the flagpole. But all of those wonderful flag holders that you gave the teachers, that they flew little, curriculum-based flags outside their classroom, they can go back to putting those back on their flag holders, whether it's kindness or climate change or pride. They can fly outside their classroom. In fact, one of the board members at the end of that board meeting where one of the teachers shared all her flags and said, can't do this anymore. At the end of that meeting, one of the board members, and it's not Ted, went up to her and said, oh, you should fly them anyway. Well, that would be define the resolution. So please get rid of it.
Thank you. Next up is Aaron Choin.
Good evening. I think we're all very well aware that the issue of this flag resolution has come up again and again for the past few months. And not having a satisfying resolution for the community or for the teachers. We've heard the teachers complain. I definitely know the students say that the emotional environment of the school feels really different when you cannot express yourself. The teachers have been worried about whether they can support some of the curriculum within their schools, within their daily activities, or if they're going to be challenged on their own free speech. So I think repealing this resolution definitely puts a lot of ease back for our teachers and our students. We can start to rebuild the emotional environment within our school, and we can get something moderate. About 2 months ago, we had so many community members come up here, and community members that had previously disagreed on it. And they said, you know what? Everybody said reserve the pole for the US flag and the state flag and use the rest of the school as, you know, an expression of who we want to welcome within our school. And almost unanimously, every person that came up to this podium said the same thing, and our board ignored it at that time. So I'm hoping that we can have a change in that, and that this board can kind of affirm what has already been said but was previously ignored. Thanks.
Thank you. Last up is Matt Sylvester.
Hello again. I usually like to prepare something written, but it's just been a really busy last couple of days, so wasn't able to do that. But kind of echoing what everyone said so far is I've stood up here many times in support of Trustee Romo's flag resolution, which to me seemed much more of a compromise. Again, keeping the flagpole with just the U.S. flag and the state flag, and then having the fence or the rest of the school being able to, you know, hang banners or other flags that could be at the jurisdiction of the superintendent principal, which makes a lot of sense. And from other districts, counties, and schools that I've spoken with, seems to be kind of on par with what is happening. So I'm totally in support of that. It feels like more of a compromise, especially with folks that I've talked to on both the pro and anti-recall sides seem to agree, let's, you know, keep the flagpole as it was, and we can go forth from there. So yeah, I think this is actually more of a true compromise, and I would support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's the public comments. I'll start off by saying that, as we all are aware, the flag ban resolution adopted by the prior majority of the Board of Trustees back in September 2023 has been an issue at this school and in this community for months now. In its original form, it raised a number of concerns and sparked heated debate on all sides of the issue. Now, with the July 2nd special recall election completed and a newly reconstituted Board of Trustees in place, it's time to implement the compromise that eluded the prior Board of Trustees and the Sunol community more generally for all of this time. The resolution before you today reflects this compromise. It provides that the district's sole flagpole can be left for the exclusive display of the U.S. and California state flags. At the same time, the district can authorize and should allow for expressions of support on Sunol Glen property that are in the interest of the district as determined by the district superintendent. These interests include, for example, support for 4-H and the students at Sunol Glen who are doing good by participating in it. They also include giving support to marginalized and protected groups within the Sunol Glen community of students. At the time that the substance of this resolution was last discussed before the board, the vast majority of speakers before the board found this compromise position to be acceptable. In fact, everyone basically here has accepted that as well. Because at its heart, it's reasonable, it's balanced, it addresses the needs and desires of all groups within the Sunol Glen community. So pass it on to you all.
I would like to move to pass resolution number 24-2025-03.
And I would like to second resolution number 24-2025-03.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passes. Okay. Okay, we are on to item 3H, report discussion and possible action to approve resolution 24-2025-4, extended day kindergarten within an early primary program. You are on. So since we have no public comment, we have our star.
Oh, why, thank you. I'm pretty loud, but I'll go ahead and use the microphone. So, and is the slideshow, can it be put up there? Is it? Program. We'll give it a few minutes. But in the meantime, I have something really exciting to share with you tonight, and it's how we're going to be helping some of our littlest learners here at Sunol, and that's called Extended Day Kindergarten. Go ahead and you can go to the next slide. So extended day kindergarten within California, the maximum school day of kindergarten is 4 hours. However, school districts are allowed to extend that day under certain conditions. And so tonight I'm going to be talking about what those conditions are, what our plan is to extend the day, and how it will look. All right. So within California, extended day kindergarten, which really is kind of a fancy word for full day kindergarten, has to be within an early primary program. And basically an early primary program is TK through third grade, that you have to have that within your school. Can it be, for example, a high school district? And then it also provides, and this is important, a combination of active and quiet time activities. And it really is developmentally appropriate for 5-year-olds and those turning 6. Go ahead and switch to the next one. All right, so these are the conditions that need to be in place through the state of California so that we can do this. The first one is that there needs to be a board adopted policy establishing an early primary program. And we actually already have that policy in place. We have a TK3 here, so we've kind of met that requirement. The second requirement is that the school day cannot extend beyond the regular school day of those in 1st through 5th grade. And that we've already met that as well, because they would be dismissed from school at 2:50. Now, the third one, which I'm going to go into, which was those opportunities for quiet activities and also developmentally appropriate. Our plan for extended day is what will happen is all of the kindergartners will start in our 3 classrooms. We have a TKK classroom. We have 2 K1 classrooms. Then they would go to lunch. And then after lunch, TK would actually exit before lunch, but then after lunch, 1st grade would stay with their K1 teachers, because that also is a much smaller unit and they get more just attention in that small group. And then all of the K students would go with Miss Stahl, who is our TK K teacher. And Miss Stahl is actually really familiar with extended day. She did it in previous districts. And so we can go to the next slide. And this is a sample of what would happen. So they'd go to lunch. We then would have a read and rest time. And when you see rest, that doesn't mean they're sleeping with cots and things like that. Many of you, I don't know, I remember in my kindergarten, there were cots and I never got to be the wake up fairy. It's a little bit of a trauma moment that I was never the wake up fairy. It's not that. It's more of a calming activity, shared reading activity. And then one of the things that she has developed is that each day would really be devoted to different areas to help kids grow in just their social emotional play, science activities, which you see with the STEM, music and dance, and then thematic art. And then also working, we have buddies already with 8th grade, and I believe it's 1st grade going on, but this would give a chance for 7th grade to have buddies with the K. And so all in all, I'll be honest, coming from being new, this is really exciting because this was brought by our K1 teachers. They are the ones who developed this and thought about this, and it really is supporting our littlest learners and helping them to be ready for 1st grade, and also ensuring that what we are providing them is developmentally appropriate. So what do we need to do in order to do this? We can go to the next slide. We need to pass a resolution that actually establishes that primary program that is stated in the board policy. And so we have a resolution to go through. I don't know if you want me to read it, if you'd like to read it.
You can read it, sure.
Okay, sounds good. Let me flip to it. All right, extended day kindergarten within an early primary program. Whereas the Sunol Glen Unified School District intends to expand the kindergarten half-day program to a full-day program. Whereas pursuant to Ed Code Section 8973, the Sunol Glen Unified School District establishes an early primary program, allowing the school to establish an extended day kindergarten program. Whereas Sunol Glen's extended day kindergarten program does not exceed the school day for the oldest participating students at the school. Whereas Sunol Glen's extended day kindergarten provides ample opportunities for students to engage in active and quiet activities within an integrated, experiential, and developmentally appropriate educational program. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the governing board of the Sunol Glen Unified School District hereby authorizes the district staff to provide extended day kindergarten within the early primary program. And my recommendation is that we would pass this. And again, I can't tell you how actually exciting this is, and that it was initiated by our teachers. And so it's a big positive to start the year off with.
Is there any discussion?
I just remember kindergarten so fondly. When you were talking about the kids resting and reading and things, all I could think of is cold milk and graham crackers. And that was a long time ago.
I would like to move approval of resolution number 24-2025-04, the extended day kindergarten within an early primary program.
I'd be delighted to second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, that's passed. Okay, moving to item 3I, action and approval of amendment number 1 to the independent consultant services agreement with K-12 school facilities for bond implementation 2024-2025. Do you want to talk about this at all? Or?
I will.
Okay.
I will. So this is actually a continuation of working with William Savage. He is our bond facilitator. His contract ended. We need to continue it. We are right at the beginning stages of the bond, and he is instrumental in overseeing everything that is happening, working with our community, the CBOC, the Community Bond Advisory Committee, and he's going to make sure that, one, we're doing this very fiscally responsible, but also in a timely manner. So I highly recommend that we continue his contract so we can keep the work going.
I firmly believe that the district has been well served by the services of Bill Savage to date. He's provided a steady professional hand to the implementation of the bond and the construction process for the school. He, more than anyone else, has moved the bond development and construction work forward, and the district would lose a valuable resource if the district did not continue to engage him on the project. So unless there's other discussion, I would move to approve the contract.
Happy to second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's approved. Okay. We are down to item 3J, action and approval to change the August regular board meeting date, which is currently August 13th, to a later date. Due to scheduling conflicts, I'm unable to attend the board meeting presently scheduled for Tuesday, August 13th, and I understand that the other members of the board here face similar scheduling conflicts because of the Board of Supervisors meeting, which I think occurs on those same dates, that same date. So now the question is August 14th a possibility, or do we need to do another date, which is sort of what we can talk about?
I think we do have another scheduling conflict.
Okay.
I will be out of the country on the 14th, so I am going to Guatemala as part of a Rotary International team of Rotarians participating in a program called Faces of Hope. And I'm the journalist for the Faces of Hope team that performs cleft lip and cleft palate surgeries. So unfortunately, if it is desired to continue the meeting on that date, I will need to log in via Zoom.
Okay, or
Can we,
Or
what about another date?
right, I think you guys proposed another date, Cheryl?
is the August 20th, is that a possibility?
That I can do.
I can do that.
Does that work here? Vicky, does that work for you? August 20th? Does?
We're here.
Which, you're instrumental to doing these meetings, so I just want to make sure.
I can tell you right now.
Do you want to speak on the microphone? Sorry.
I just want to make sure that the staff and teachers and so forth that are aware of the date so that and it's not problematic.
August 20th, there's nothing on the school calendar, and that's a Tuesday.
Okay. So I move that we adjust the meeting to reschedule the regular scheduled board meeting, currently scheduled for Tuesday, August 30th to Tuesday, August 20th. Is there a second?
A second.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thank you for adjusting and for your flexibility. My question would be related to the appointment process and if there are any updates that need to be made on the application or the language that will be placed on the website as far as what the timeline is for the position if we change the date of the meeting.
We did make it exactly so that we would have about a week before the meeting, so we could probably then extend the deadline. I believe we said August 7th. So if we're not meeting till the 20th, we could do August 13th or 14th, and that would give citizens more time to contemplate, fill out the interview. So, yeah.
So I would suggest we do both of those things.
Okay, so let me look at the calendar, because why don't we do it a week before the 20th? And I want to make sure I have the right dates. So a week before the 20th would be the 13th. So then we would be moving the date the application's due from the 7th at 4 p.m. to the 13th at 4 p.m.
Does that work for you all? You good with that? Okay. So let's do that. And then we will as well approve the regular meeting switching to Tuesday, August 20th at 5:30, I believe is when we're starting these now. So we have a second on that. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that passes. So on that note, in record time, 1 hour and 10 minutes, the special board meeting is now closed.
You're all.
Thank you.